Is Priit Vesilind. Yay, Priit! Thanks for coming
Yay,
on the
Pia.
show.
Thanks a lot.
You're a fellow
Nice
Estonian.
We're
Just
fellow
reminded me.
Estonians.
Yay for fellow Estonians.
Only 1.3 million of us in all the world. We're a special group.
We are a special group.
Yes.
And you wrote a special book, The Singing Revolution.
Boy, it's the only way the Estonians had any chance of getting free from Soviet Union.
And what is the Singing Revolution? Tell me a little bit more.
Well, you know, when the Soviet Union collapsed, all these republics had to fend for themselves, and a lot of them had really trouble breaking away. There were, you may have heard the term the Velvet Revolution, the Orange Revolution. All of these sort of revolutions were the way each nation broke off. Estonians, with only 1.3 million people, had no real weapons. Obviously, they couldn't force their way. They couldn't make any kind of a statement. So they had the force of their culture. And the book talks about, and the film talks about, the way culture actually defeated the power of the Soviet Union, because they simply couldn't walk in and bother people who were doing nothing but singing. So it's the force of song and the force of music that became the weapon of choice, and the only weapon possible for the Estonian people.
That's great. And do you sing?
Absolutely, all Estonians sing. It's in our genes. It's part of the way we're made up.
Hey, I don't sing too well, but I know you sing a lot better.
Well, I'm only half kidding, but the singing tradition in Estonia started way back in the mid-19th century, in fact.
And why write the book?
I knew that there was a pair of filmmakers from New York actually doing a story on the Singing Revolution, doing a film on it, and I met the producer one day and I said, "Is somebody doing a book, a companion book?" And he said, "No." And I said, "I'm your man." I could not imagine somebody else doing this book.
And Priit, you are the man.
I would have kicked myself if I'd let somebody else do this book, because...
And I see a picture of the book on our screen right now.
Yep.
That is your book, The Singing Revolution.
That is my book, and that is a very interesting moment that you see on the screen. Those are men singing after they had confronted a gang of essentially Soviet-Russian goons who had stormed the Capitol building of Estonia. Thousands of Estonians came and surrounded the Parliament building and intimidated the crowd of Russians, so that the crowd had to disperse, and the Estonian crowd parted and allowed them to walk through in complete peace. Not a drop of blood was spilled. And you know what happened after the Russians had left?
What happened?
They held up their hands and they began to sing.
That is
the
great.
power of song, and that's why this cover was chosen, because it is the ultimate moment where it's obvious that singing is a powerful cultural weapon.
And I could
and
see
I
your
love that.
enthusiasm, and I love your enthusiasm.
Listen, it was such a great subject.
And how's the movie doing right now?
The movie is doing amazingly well. You know, it's a 90-minute film, it's a documentary film, it has a lot of beautiful music in it, and it has soul, it has emotion in it, and it's a type of film that Estonians themselves would probably never make. It's a little bit like somebody else from the outside has to go and make it for it to be, well, let's say, even credible. You don't want it to sound like, you know, a begrieved nation's propaganda. You want somebody neutral to come in and say, "This is what happened. Isn't it a great story?" So I'm very excited. I think it's showing in about 40 movie theaters right now across the country.
And we should let people know here that it's showing in Washington, D.C.
It's
right
showing
now.
at
Please go see it. It's absolutely wonderful.
It's at the East Street Cinema.
That's right.
It's just been held over for another week. And if you get a chance to do it, go.
And Jim, the director, would love you to see it too. He's great, and you're great.
Well, he's managed this thing completely differently. And his wife, Maureen. He's actually gotten the grassroots interested in this film simply by way of sending out emails telling people if they like the film, if they like the idea, if they want to support this, go see it. And the pressure of so many people going to the theaters has influenced the theater managers, so that they're asking for the film all across the country because they realize that this is a phenomenon.
And I see people in the studio are asking about your work also on National Geographic, and there's one of your stories there. You've written so many, and you've also written a lot of books, and you'll have to come back on the show and talk about it more, and people will have to go to the website to find out more about the Singing Revolution.
Yes, they will.
And we'll have to have you on again next time so we could talk about your presidential honor that you received.
Nice. It's so nice for you to invite me as a fellow Estonian,
so nice,
especially.
Nice to have you. Thank you so much.
It's been a lot of fun, Pia.
Great to have you. And Arlingtonians, please check out his book. Go to see The Singing Revolution. Read your National Geographics. Priit Vesilind is the best. And thank you so much for watching this segment. And now, back to the desk.
Thanks, Pia.